Robin Hood Radio presents Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens. Michele is a longtime journalist and herself is a published playwright of several theatrical works. She's a frequent contributor to the Huffington Post, Daily Beast, and the Atlantic websites.
Another opening of another show.
Well, more hopeful announcements keep coming. The Williamstown season, and not the audio version, will open on July 6th with Outside on Main, 9 solo plays by Black playwrights. That'll be staged on the front lawn of its main venue, the series curated by the writer and director Robert O'Hara, who's known for the hit Broadway show Slave Play. It includes short works by an impressive list of writers. Theater and Art. Isn't that a Sondheim song? Anyway, the world premiere of the musical called Row, R-O-W, with songs by Don Lenz and a book by Daniel Goldstein, will be staged at the Reflecting Pool of the nearby Clark Institute, also in your general hood, starting July 13th. The show is about a woman who intends to row solo across the Atlantic Ocean. And Great Barrington Stage, which, as you know, has done terrific work during this difficult time, will take us under a tent with the songs of George Gershwin. Now, that one's even sooner, supposed to start June 10th, run through July 3rd. It'll be directed by Julianne Boyd, who proclaims, "Join us in celebrating one of the greatest composers of the 20th century. From I Got Rhythm to Embraceable You to Summertime, Gershwin's soaring, glorious music will lift up your spirits and warm your hearts." That one features a cast of stellar Broadway singers and should be a delightful concert, which will have you asking who could ask for anything more. And here's another musical name, not to mention a huge catalog we all know, Neil Diamond. A Beautiful Noise, the title of the singer-songwriter's 1976 album, is set to run for 4 weeks at the Emerson Colonial Theater in Boston next year. Yes, next year, as in 2022. The show's producers, Ken Davenport and Bob Gaudio, plan to bring the production to New York following that run. I personally hope that this announcement demonstrates to the world that the Broadway factory is starting to come back to life, that there is smoke coming from our chimneys, Davenport said. The show so far has the award-winning director Michael Mayer attached. I put a lot of dimes into machines as a young Neil Diamond fan, and this sounds like a jukebox worth anticipating. Meanwhile, I remain in Los Angeles for a while, where plenty of news is being made, both positive, the Hollywood Bowl has finally reopened, and negative, the Frieze Art Fair was just canceled. The governor's timetable of mid-June for partial and protocol-filled venue reopenings has everybody excited, but then a divisive battle erupted in the theater community. Yes, the longtime Los Angeles Stage Alliance fell apart after some embarrassing flubs, notably mispronouncing an Asian American's name, and putting up a photo of the wrong actress at its annual Ovation Awards event. 46 theaters resigned. That's about a third of its members. And a week ago, the organization, which for nearly a half century had been the main coalition in this city, announced that it was disbanding. Gary Grossman, who's the producing artistic director of Skylight Theater Company, called the collapse of the alliance the right outcome. They have not represented the community, he said. It needs to be rethought from the ground up. Well, that story has been covered nationally, including in the New York Times, and could have repercussions for similar creative entities. Let's hope this alliance can mend its wounds and reemerge in a healthier form. Now, there's friendlier news from the City of the Angels. The LA-based One Archives Foundation, the oldest active LGBTQ organization in the U.S., has organized a virtual reading of The Normal Heart, Larry Kramer's shattering AIDS play. That'll feature Sterling K. Brown, Laverne Cox, Jeremy Pope, and Guillermo Diaz. Quite a cast. Tickets go on sale Thursday for the May 8th presentation, which organizers hope will have added resonance due to COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement. Martin Sheen, by the way, who played the lead, Ned Weeks, in a 1986 production of The Normal Heart, will introduce the reading. Emmy winner Paris Barclay will direct. Through today's lens, the story of a marginalized people pushed to activism by the onslaught of an epidemic clearly was worth telling again, Barclay said. Tickets are on sale at onearchives.org/normalheart. Now, there are more big names and some interesting works that popped up over this past week, rather unexpectedly, that I predict will remain viewable. At least I hope they will. In musical theater, Tony winners Bernadette Peters, Cynthia Erivo, Leah Salonga, Glenn Close, and Brian Stokes Mitchell put gender-bending twists on classic show tunes in Saturday's benefit for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Debbie Allen, Cheyenne Jackson, Eric McCormick, Deborah Messing, and Jim Parsons were also featured. Now keep an eye on BroadwayCares.org or YouTube, as I bet more of us will get the chance to enjoy that one. Likewise, with the play called Mother's Day from Great Barrington Stage, which was streamed over the weekend. Now that one's written by Becca Brunstetter. She's one of the original writers on NBC's This Is Us. Mother's Day is about a couple who are determined to have a baby and must explore the dizzying world of injections, IVF, and, yes, ice cream sandwiches. I found it compelling, though while it is promoted as a comedy, I can truly say there is not a laugh in it. The play is in development, so not quite ready for prime time. Speaking of well-meaning but few laughs, it's been a while since we've had a presentation from Theater of War. Well, this week it offers dramatic readings of scenes from Aeschyles' play The Suppliants, an ancient tragedy about 50 female refugees who seek asylum in the ancient city of Argos, and the struggle within that city about whether to receive them. Now, obviously, this one is geared to and followed by discussions about human trafficking, immigration, and the current refugee crisis. And as always, Theater of War features performances by a top-notch cast. And from Santa Barbara's new, as opposed to old, Vic Theater comes another ancient-flavored offering, An Iliad, crafted around the stories of Achilles and Hector in language that is advertised as both poetic and conversational. What emerges is a piece of theatrical storytelling that drives home the timelessness of mankind's compulsion toward violence. Performance dates and times can be found via Ensemble Studio Theater in Santa Barbara. Now, if all that sounds too weighty, you can check out a show called Weightless, which is streaming on demand starting Thursday. It's April 15th. This is described as a theatrical concert film. It combines ancient myth, again, and indie rock, telling the tale of two devoted sisters who must travel across worlds and make sacrifices in order to reunite. This one is inspired by a tale from Ovid's Metamorphoses. Also streaming and much more contemporary in flavor is Follow Spot, a series of digital comedic performances. That starts on demand on Wild Project TV next Sunday, April 18th. Wild Project is a company and venue that has been part of the East Village performance community art community for nearly 15 years. And speaking of the East Village, the public theater certainly needs no explanation, but I will mention that its digital stage is about to offer an audio production of Shadowland. That's a new drama set amid the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. And a pair of dedicated performers are gearing up for solo shows, starting with 91-year-old stage and TV icon John Cullum. His retrospective was thwarted, first by illness, then by the theater shutdown, of course, before finally being filmed without an audience at Irish Repertory Theater. Now that has started and will be up through April 22nd. And then we have one from another, much younger legend in the making, Sutton Foster, Bring Me to Light. Foster will be joined by glittery friends like Raul Esparza, Kelly O'Hara, and Ren Rivera. Together, they celebrate their connections to theater with performances of musical favorites from Anyone Can Whistle, Camelot, Oklahoma, South Pacific Violet, and The Wild Party. You can secure your $35 front row digital seat to Sutton Foster, Bring Me to Light. That goes up in a few weeks. And while we await the revival of The Music Man with Sutton Foster as that lovely librarian, this will have to suffice. Finally, also filled with recognizable names, the new group is offering what it calls reunion readings. The first two share one author, and here we go, Dan and Lemon by Wallace Shawn, with the cast including Marissa Errico, Kristen Johnson, and Lily Taylor. Then there is Evening at the Talk House, also by Wallace Shawn, with Matthew Broderick, Jill Eikenberry, Claudia Scheer, and Michael Tucker. Then there is The True by Shar White with Edie Falco, Michael McKean, and Peter Scolari. That one was a political story based on actual events. Then there is The Spoils by Jesse Eisenberg with Jesse Eisenberg. And finally, there is The Jacksonian by Beth Henley with Ed Harris, Carol Kane, Amy Madigan, and Bill Pullman. That's a hell of a lineup you can tune into via the new group's site. Some were better than others. I think I reviewed every one of them all here. But it's a good way to thank these off-Broadway companies that even though things are looking up, Jill, well, they need our support more than ever.
And do you think that people, I would hope that just being alive again, when the monster starts stirring, should create some excitement. Do you think that support is available?
I hope so. I sure hope so. I'm feeling
that didn't sound very. I'm looking for a yes.
I guess so. I mean, I think Broadway. More people are talking about Broadway coming back. Yes, I think local theaters, definitely all around the country, are feeling that kind of support, whether it's in Santa Barbara, L.A., or wherever, Michigan. But in New York, I hope so. Those companies, God, the signature, they're all struggling. Not the public. The public will be fine. But, Ars Nova, they've all done amazing work during this time. But
do they have a fundraising base?
Yeah, they have some, but holding on to it over a year, and people, let's face it, people have gotten used to, hey, sitting at home and doing it virtually.
But don't you think, I'm curious, I mean, I know some people in that, I'm going to call it the Broadway demographic, who are just aching to get out of the house. So I don't know whether that I don't know. I don't know how that plays. I think you've got to split.
I think you got to split. It's the demographic. The younger folks and more adventurous. They're gonna go out and see these comedic performances or musical concerts. I think they're more likely. Older folks, even though they've been vaccinated, and let's face it, by a month or so, everybody will have been vaccinated. We hope. So hopefully they'll feel more confident and ready to go. The movie theaters are coming back to life. Godzilla and King Kong have made, $40 million. So somebody's going to the theaters. Are they younger people? Probably. But, those aren't the people that go to Broadway shows, unfortunately, or even off-Broadway shows. So we need the real folks back, back to support. And listen, these companies, they've done a great job. But and not only laying off people, but bringing in people of diversity, the pressure on them to do that, they've really done an amazing job. I mean, all congrats to Off-Broadway and everything they represent.
Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens, produced in the studios of Robin Hood Radio, robinhoodradio.com.